Welcome to the Instagram stories for Tuesday, March 19th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Before we get into the questions for Mosseri Monday, we're going to talk about the TikTok news, which has to do with the potential ban of TikTok in the United States. I very much do not want to talk about this news story because I feel like I've talked about it so many times as a potential thing that could happen since 2020, but it is important to give this attention since it is in the news again. I'm going to first let the CEO of TikTok, Shou, explain some of the challenges that have to do with this issue.
Hi everyone, it's Shou here. Just wanted to share some thoughts with our US users about the disappointing vote in the House of Representatives. There has been a lot of misinformation, and I hope to clarify some things. First, thank you to our incredible community. You are what makes TikTok so special. Thank you for making your voices heard. Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation. We have committed that we will continue to do so. This legislation, if signed into law, will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. Even the bill sponsors admit that that's their goal. This bill gives more power to a handful of other social media companies. It will also take billions of dollars out of the pockets of creators and small businesses. It will put more than 300,000 American jobs at risk, and it will take away your TikTok. We know how important TikTok is to all of you. It has given our 170 million users a platform to freely express themselves, and has empowered more than 7 million businesses in the United States. Our platform matters to the small business owners who rely on TikTok to make ends meet, to the teachers who inspire millions of students to learn, and to everyone who discovers and finds joy on TikTok. We will not stop fighting and advocating for you. We will continue to do all we can, including exercising our legal rights, to protect this amazing platform that we have built with you. We believe we can overcome this together. I encourage you to keep sharing your stories. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family. Share them with your senators. Protect your constitutional rights. Make your voices heard. Love you all.
A couple of things about this whole situation. Number one, I am not going to give my opinion about whether or not I think TikTok should be banned, other than to say I'm very tired of talking about this issue. Second, I really like playing Shou's audio clips on this show, and I wish there were a lot more of them. I truly want to give him and his voice and his team as much attention on this show as I give to the Instagram team. That is my goal. If you have a way to help me do that better, please, by all means, share it. I would love nothing more than to have a chance to interview Shou for the show. That would be awesome. If you know someone, please make that connection. I would be forever in your debt. I do want to highlight a fascinating article that was written in the Washington Post. The TikTok debate featured many disputed claims. Here are 7 of them. Excellent article. It goes into the 7 main things that TikTok detractors highlight as reasons the app should be banned, but what the truth is for each of them. This article, of course, written by who else? Taylor Lorenz. Love her writing. I don't have time to go through the entire article, but I just want to address a couple of them. And you probably have friends or relatives who say this all the time about TikTok, and maybe you even say it yourself. First, TikTok's algorithm is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party to push government propaganda to US users. That's one thing that people often say. And the second, because TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is owned by a Chinese company, therefore it is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. And one more main one that I will talk about, TikTok's China ties give the Chinese Communist Party access to the personal data of Americans. She explains in depth why these things do not actually equate what people say that they do. I'll give an example. First, let's take that one where TikTok's Chinese ties give the Chinese Communist Party access to the personal data of Americans is a claim that many people make. However, TikTok explains that US user data is housed on servers controlled by Oracle, which is a company based in Texas. Other people have pointed out over the years that Facebook and Instagram collect very similar data, and that data brokers who sell personal information collected via the internet can sell to anyone, including Chinese buyers. So your data can be sold to people in China, the government or not, based on whether or not you're on the internet in general. Using TikTok does not automatically equate that your data is being sold to the Chinese government. I also learned something very key from this article. People say all the time, TikTok is a Chinese app. Okay, let's just break that down. TikTok Inc. is a US company and bound by US laws. TikTok's headquarters are in Los Angeles and Singapore. Singapore is not in China. TikTok is not even available in China. I actually didn't know that TikTok wasn't available in China. I'm not going to keep talking about this issue, but please take a look at this article. I will link to it in the show notes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into a couple of Mosseri Monday questions, so be sure to stick around. And we're back. Okay, let's dive into the questions. The first, how can I get my content on the Explore tab? You want to get your content on the Explore tab so that people who are not following you will be more likely to see it. I think this is one thing that we don't talk about much on this show, but is very important. Stories are likely only going to be seen by people who follow you. It's very unlikely that people will just come across your stories randomly and watch all of them. However, your posts that you make in feed, your reels, those would be likely, if they are doing well in the algorithm, to be posted on the Explore page, and therefore other people who don't follow you would see them and then potentially follow you because they like your content. Here's Adam's explanation of how to get your content on the Explore tab.
There's no button you press, but in general, what shows up in Explore, which is similar to what shows up in Reels recommendations or even feed recommendations, is content we think someone might be interested in, even though they don't follow you yet. So the best thing you can do is experiment. See what you post or share that tends to get more unconnected reach than things that get less. So look at what you post, look at the connected and the unconnected reach, see if there are any patterns in what's getting unconnected reach, and double down on those patterns.
I think his using the term unconnected reach is a little bit hard to follow. I would say look at what content is getting shared, because people who are sharing your content think that it's so valuable that other people need to see it. So look at what content is getting shared the most and do more of that. The next question is a request for a feature, and I very much like this idea. The question, will we ever be able to edit our photo grids? For instance, to move pictures around. I first thought that they meant in a carousel, but I realize now they mean on your profile page, you could move posts around where you thought they should go. Obviously, you can pin posts, but maybe you have one from back in the day that you posted a month ago if you post a lot, or a year ago if you post not very often, and you want to move it up higher so that people could see it when they go to your profile page, and it would be, for instance, one of your 9 posts that they see initially. Here's Adam's answer.
I like that idea. You can currently pin up to 3 things to the top of your grid, so you do have some control over it. It would get a little complicated if you could just rearrange things, but that seems like a tractable problem, so something we should explore.
Excellent suggestion, and I'm hoping they implement that. Next question is a statement for a request. The request is multiple close friends list, please. Let me just back up and explain what the close friends list is if you're not familiar with it. If you want to post something to your Instagram story, everyone who follows you has the option to see that story. And actually, if they don't follow you as well and you have a public profile, they could go to your profile page and watch your story. But what if you want only select people to be able to see your story? That's where close friends comes in. You can tag who you want in your close friends list, sort of your inner circle, and then you can post a story to the close friends list, and only the people who you have in your close friends list will be able to see it. It's a fantastic way to ensure that the people who you really want to see your private content while still having a public page can do that. Love the close friends. This person's asking for multiples. I'm not exactly sure why you would do that. Maybe if you had one close friends that was a group of coworkers versus a close friends list that was all your friends, that's maybe potentially how you might use it.
We've thought about this a lot. We've actually experimented with it multiple times. My biggest concern is that if you make it so that you can create a bunch of different lists, that's great for a very small percentage of people who want multiple lists, but it makes the whole system more complicated for everybody else, and that complexity cost might not be worth that additional functionality for that minority of people, but it is one we've wrestled with many times.
As a product manager, I'm always fascinated to hear what features the team talks about, but ultimately decide not to move forward with, and the reasons why. That's always absolutely fascinating to me. Okay, that is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening. Take some time today and go create some content.
I'm not yet a member of the Instagram team, but my podcast covers many Instagram themes. But the name, image, logos are trademarks at Instagram and the LCC in the USA and every territory. Everything I publish independently until Zuck returns my DMs and starts to pay my salary. Not sponsored or endorsed, no lies, no fallacies. I use their logo with permission, not malicious or callously. No trademark violation, filling all criteria. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Daniel Hill Media.